So a couple weeks ago there was the whole controversy with the interview and the threats of terrorism going on, so it likely wouldn't be showing up in many theaters, if any. If you saw it in theaters, good for you. But thankfully it's on YouTube, so you can go rent it and watch it, and now the entire world can get familiar with the term honey dicking. The interview stars James Franco, Seth Rogen, Randall, Diana Bang, and Lizzy Caplan, and is directed by Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen, who are a pretty good directing comedy. It's a story of Dave Skylark, who's James Franco. He's a TV show host, but it's not quite trashy like TMZ, but it's like sort of a goofy, fluffy talk show of sorts. But it turns out Kim Jong-un is a big fan of his show, so he's actually able to land an interview with him. And Aaron Rappaport, played by Seth Rogen, is his good buddy and assistant, and they go by themselves to North Korea to interview him, and the CIA gets involved and they want to get them to assassinate Kim Jong-un. So it basically plays out like a sort of more comedic version of Inglourious Basterds. And Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg as like a comedic duo as writers or directors. You know, they directed This Is the End, and I love this movie. This movie's hysterical. And Rogen already earlier this year has had a good hit with Neighbors, or technically last year at this point. I'm forgetting already, it's 2015. And as I said with This Is the End, I love that movie. I really like Neighbors, and I love this movie too. This movie is hilarious in my opinion. It is like one of their best, but not their best. I think actually even Neighbors is a better movie than this, because this movie has a few flaws, and I'll talk about those later, but I want to talk about all the great, awesome stuff first. James Franco and Seth Rogen have such great chemistry together. They've been working together since, what was it, Freaks and Geeks? They were on that show together, and since then, all the different movies and projects they've worked on together, Pineapple Express being a good one to mention. This Is the End is another one to mention. They're really fun together, and they both play off each other really well. And of the two, I think James Franco is for sure the stand on this movie over everyone. I love Seth Rogen, but actually I think James Franco gives the best performance and the funniest. His performance as Dave Skylark is so kind of a buffoon idiot, but he still seems smart and clever in a way. But yeah, he's just really, really entertaining to watch. As kind of a real dummy at times. He's just so entertaining, and I love James Franco in this movie. This is his best performance for sure. And I know there's not like a whole lot to play up against, like, oh no, I think Harry Osborn was much better. No, I would say it's this, or, well, comedically this, but I think overall it'd be maybe 127 hours. I just thought of that movie right now, so thought I'd mention it. And another thing I just realized, I thought it up and I was like, hey wait, the actor Randall Park who played Kim Jong-un was in Neighbors. He had a small role as one of the college campus interviewers. And he was funny in that scene, and he was only in there for like 20 seconds, but I realized, hey, wait, that's... So my brain melted for a second. I was like, wait, it's the same person. Dun, dun, dun. I just thought that up in my head. I was like, wow, that's cool. Randall Park's performance as Kim Jong-un is hilarious, because it's something that I actually predicted might be in the movie before I saw it, was that it wouldn't be just a specific, okay, we're going to interview him and then we'll kill him and then hijinks ensue. I figured they were going to do a little twist with Kim Jong-un to make him really entertaining. And they sure as hell did. He was so good. He gave such a great performance. And it was so entertaining to see a guy that you know you should just hate. It's like, it's a bad guy, but he's actually really fun to watch. This movie for the first hour, and I'm trying to think, this movie's an hour 50, and for at least the first hour and maybe 10 minutes, probably hour 20, 30 minutes, this movie's just non-stop going, hilarious joke after joke after joke. It just keeps getting funnier and funnier. Each joke makes you laugh harder than the last. It really is just hysterical. It made me laugh so much, just constantly making you laugh. And I was like, yes, this movie's fucking awesome. Unfortunately, the last little bit of the end, the movie takes a little turn where it wasn't as entertaining. It was still funny, but it takes a turn where it shifts in tone slightly from a silly comedy to more of a comedic action movie of sorts. And it's still funny, it's just not as funny. It loses a little bit of something. It's not terrible at all, it's entertaining, it's just, it's not quite as good. It stopped being as funny, but it was still really good. I enjoyed it, and the end, oh my god, the ending, the conclusion to it all was so great when you see what happens. You gotta see the movie just for that moment. All I'll say is this movie is going to repopularize Katy Perry's Firework for one thing, and yeah, the term honey dicking, which I already used once since seeing it for my worst movies of 2014. This movie is super entertaining if you like these guys. The Seth Rogen, James Franco, like all the comedy movies they make. If you like all those movies, this should be just as entertaining. It feels right up there with the best of them. It's just the last little ending loses me a bit because it goes from really funny to almost a little too over the top with some of the comedy action that happens, where just a little bit, it loses me just a little bit. For the most part, still really entertaining. James Franco is amazing in this movie, and Seth Rogen and Randall Park are also really good. This movie's such a fun time. Was it worth, like, North Korea and all the threats of bombing theaters for playing? This movie's not necessarily worth all that. It's really funny and entertaining, but is it worth all these threats and stuff? It almost elevates the movie to a level of importance that it can't live up to, because it's like, oh, this movie obviously must be amazing because North Korea threatened to destroy every theater for playing. It must be super important cinema. No, it's just a silly comedy, and it's really funny. But yeah, that kind of elevates it to a level of importance it can't live up to. So it's unfortunate that all happened. So I just went on YouTube. Okay, $7, I'll watch it. And because of it, you can't even see it in a theater, really. There's some places, but in Canada, it's like everyone backed out like, no, no, no. There's like, what, 5 theaters in all of Alberta right now that are playing it, so I was like, ugh. And it looked really good on YouTube, so I think you should guys rent it on YouTube and then just stream it through like your PlayStation. If your PlayStation has a YouTube app, do it that way, because that's how it pretty much looks the best. It looked really, really good actually that way. And I actually kind of wish they'd play more movies on YouTube, because you know, I'm not able to go to the theater every week and see 3 movies, so if they could play them on YouTube for rental, like some smaller art house movies, Nightcrawler, Birdman, stuff that I wasn't able to see, if that was for rent on YouTube, that'd be perfect. I'd give The Interview an A. Like I said, super hilarious, lost a little bit at the end, but still really enjoyed this movie. It's one of my favorite comedies of the year. Not the best, there's some other ones that I like better, but still a really hilarious movie. You should definitely check it out, rent it on YouTube, or if you're lucky, see it in a theater. If you've seen it already, comment below, tell me what you thought of it, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.